And welcome back to News Center. Thank you very much for staying with us. I want us to continue with our conversation. And Njeru Kadhangu, who's a veteran politician, has just joined us and said, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Betty.
And happy Jamhuri Day.
Very happy Jamhuri.
Yeah, great to have you here in studio.
Yes, great.
All right, so we've been having a conversation with Dr. Kitty, and we've been talking about, Jamhuri Day. What is there to celebrate? 54 years. Yes. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Being there and a veteran politician, she says that she used to read your speeches when she was younger. So where are we as a country? What do you think we can celebrate about being 54 years?
Yeah, I think there is pride in being a republic. First of all, because the whole burden of leadership is given to the people, and the people choose their representatives. That is something to be proud of. That the British felt that we cannot continue with Kenya as a colony, so let Kenya be on its own.
All right.
That is something to be proud of. What we have gone through since 1964, the first Jamhuri Day, to this day, is what maybe is disheartening, whereby some African leaders thought that they have replaced the colonial governor. And therefore, they continue to rule us as the queen and king and governors did, which is something that the African actually made a big mistake about. If things changed, that the man in the rural village felt that he was doing his things without the big man's eye, then that would have brought liberty and greater freedoms to this country.
All right.
But the things that we see and witness every day is like they do not recognize that they were given the representative authority and power by the people who own the sovereignty, right?
What are the things that you feel that, the leaders have erred in when it comes to what you're saying?
The first thing is this. The Republic of Kenya was given that status so that the people can be able to decide on the things and problems they had gone through and how to sort them out. The very first one was freedom. The next one was their land. How were they going to distribute their land, manage it for it to produce for their people? But what happened is that at the onset, the leaders gave themselves all the land, and the people were left landless. So when we talk about joblessness, the very first thing we are saying is that the first job, which is stealing the land, has been denied the people.
From the people.
And so they became jobless from 1964, right? And therefore they have been struggling to get to livelihood. They can't because the first production agent, land,
was taken away from them.
taken away from them.
Wow. So do you think we're getting better, and where are we right now?
I am not sure that we are getting better, because the people that have taken leadership in this country are descendants, direct descendants of the people that did it, right? And therefore what they are doing today is actually to protect what they found, because it is theirs. It's like my children, whatever I own today, like this telephone, whatever I own today, if I fell and you buried me, Betty, then my children will come claiming from KTN my telephone. So now, whether it was stolen or not. And so those that are descendants to the first owners of the land, have obligation, so they say, to protect it,
Interesting. Dr. Kitty, just hearing what he's saying, and, this conversation that we've been having about national healing, then is it a cosmetic kind of healing? Because as he mentions, there are deeper issues that we've still not arrested.
Yes, there are deeper issues we haven't. And as he says correctly, the sovereignty was given to us, and it was given, you receive on behalf of. So those who are there received on behalf of us, the people. And as he says, what happened is or we can all read in history. But look at that, just suppose that, where you have a group of people who don't actually respect the sovereignty of the people. And then you come now and look at what is happening with the Constitution 2010. I mean, right now, Betty, I cannot understand how we can have a president who is comfortable with a parliament that is illegal, that is against the constitution. There's no gender balance in the current parliament. I cannot understand how we can have constitutional bodies that are comfortable with that situation. I cannot understand, with the national cohesion, how they hope to heal Kenyans when we have, how many are there, 300 and something parliamentarians actually not upholding the constitution, and when we have a president who actually is comfortable that you can break parts of the constitution. And I think that's what he's saying, that people then thought they can actually steal parts of the land that belong to the people instead of having a national distribution program, which, by the way, has happened in other places. Of course, the extreme case of Zimbabwe, but if you go to South Africa, they are still doing that national redistribution of resources, which came from the apartheid regime. So I think that. Do
you think we'll ever get to that point, Askaya? Because that goes really to the core of our issues, the issues that we're dealing with.
It actually depends on what kind of leadership this country gets.
Okay.
You know, there may be a new leadership in Kenya sometimes to come that may decide to go back and look at all these issues. It may happen. But I would like to make a small comment about what Dr. has said. This is unconstitutional institutions, you know, where the parliament and other institutions pressed this nation to have a new constitution. Some of us were saying, please don't pass this constitution as it is, because it will be very difficult to achieve its aspirations, you know? And what did they say? No, it's only about 10-20% that is wrong. We will come back to it and rectify and right the wrongs that may be contained in it. It has not been possible. Some things, unless they have got a clear program, are very difficult to achieve. For example, in my own house, I have got my wife and my daughters. I ask them to join me in political programs. They don't want. They don't want to be in there. And I guess it is the same, Daktari, in most of the households, that ladies do not want to be embroiled in this dirt, because sometimes politics become so dirty that those people that think about their names, about their morals, about their communities, about their houses, don't want to be involved.
All right.
And therefore, the clean women's souls, the ones that you respect in society, people you think that would come and bring some sense in politics, don't want it.
They don't want it.
And so what do?
Yeah.
You know, what you are telling Parliament is to pick anybody and bring. And some of them have done it. They bring some people who bring a lot of disappointment and shame, you know? And therefore, I feel that while we think that it is unconstitutional, it is also like the same way. Very difficult to achieve.
All right.
You know?
So we're coming from a very difficult electioneering period, one that has really caused some serious fatigue within Kenyans. And, you know, there's this, you know, word being thrown around, national healing. How do we achieve national healing? Is it, and that's what I was asking, is it a cosmetic kind of national healing we're talking about? Because the commissions that have been tasked with this, with cohesion, have failed Kenya. We've not seen any tangible results about, you know, them bringing Kenyans together in any sense of the word. So when we talk about national healing, I'd like to hear from you. What do you think are the ingredients to achieve, you know, that final product that we can say that, okay, now we are speaking as one country, as one nation?
I think before Honorable Kadangu maybe answers that maybe in a better way than I would, I think there are basic things. In any organization, when you have to do conflict resolution and when you have to you know, redistribute resources and make sure that everybody agrees with what is going on. There are actually ways in which you can do that. And if you look at reconciliations around the world, we are not the first ones to do it. South Africa did it through the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. We had a Truth and Reconciliation Commission here. It had a report. And maybe, let me not say much about it. I think Mheshimiwa can then say about it. So if you read that report, it tells you how the National Cohesion Commission should proceed. And by the way, legally, it was the basis in which the National Cohesion Commission was put in place as a constitutional body. There was a young man on KTN today morning, and he said something that I think most young people and most Kenyans don't want to say. We have the wrong people in these institutions. Why are you in an institution? If you are in the National Cohesion Commission and you are not there because you are competent, you are not there because you love Kenya, yeah? You are not there because actually you know how to reconcile people. You are not there because you have a rough idea of what reconciliation means. Yes, a rough idea of what you are there because you are one of those members of Jubilee or ODM who went to the polls and lost, and now your party is looking for a job for you. Then if that is the case, you can imagine, and I'm just using national cohesion because it's the one we are discussing. But by the way, Betty, this has also permeated into the universities. We are now hiring people based on something else other than competence.
And that's something you've witnessed even as a lecturer.
Yes, we are doing that. And that's why you see the Minister for Education going around saying we are going to have radical... why would you do that? Universities all over the world operate in a certain way. You must have competency in the university. You must have specialization in the university. The problem is those institutions that are supposed to bring us together. Who is there in those institutions? And this is something that Kenyans must face. This is something that I hope the president will address in his speech. And this is something that he needs to address directly. And I must actually add, without fear of contradiction, that the president actually in their first term did very badly in that regard. You know, they did not put the right people in the right places.
All right.
You know, Betty, when we get to a situation like we are in, that favoritism and nepotism have been the ones at the center of placement in this country. You know, you go to establishments, and it is about relatives. In fact, when you look at Kenya as it is now, those in the civil service and those in the private sector are related directly to our leadership. Right? So they are either uncles, cousins, aunties, what have you, blah, blah, all of them. And the ownership of both business and land also is directly attached to them. And therefore, they are the people that have been placed in institutions, the ones that Dr. is talking about. When we get to a situation like this, where incompetence and confusion reigns, then the whole business goes back again to the people. And the people have their elders, they have their leaders, either clan leaders, community leaders, call it anything, but you see they are the opinion shapers. That every time Kenya wants to achieve anything, they go back to the rural areas, they get those people, the senior teachers, the senior cooperative elders, the senior and so forth and so forth. They come together and discuss the issue. Today, Kenya is divided along ethnic lines and down the middle. And so what do we need? We don't need those institutions calling themselves so big names, you know? What we need is an elder from the village, honored and respected by the community, to come forth, meet another elder from the other, and so forth and so forth. And let government be observer in a meeting like that one, where they will have no say, they have no authority, they wait for a solution.
From the elders,
from the people.
From the people on the ground.
Yes. And these people are going to be here. There will be less than 1,000. We have got 44 now communities in this country. So if you are going to get about 10 of them, it's 440. Go to Daktaris and the professions, get another few hundred. Those are going to be about 1,000 people.
But is it going to be sufficient? Because already the country is already divided along ethnic lines. And you know that there are communities which feel disenfranchised in one way or another, whether when it comes to resource distribution, they feel already there's a problem. So how do you then bring these people together to sit in a table and discuss something?
Correct. But this one, the government holds our kitty. They are the ones we have given our money, you know, look after it for us. So when the people say we want 50 million to sort out this mess you have caused, they should release the 50 million, right? And the 50 million will be distributed to this community to bring them together by the county commissioners that the government itself has appointed out there, or the governors, because we have the people,
All right.
right? And those people are the ones to coordinate that. Let them come forward, right? And they sit. If you give them 3 days, because the people are not involved. What is happening is this. Those that are behind, for example, Kalonzo Musyoka and Raila Odinga, will feel shy to walk out because this is their leader. Those that come from communities where Uhuru and Ruto come from don't want to leave because the people are going to say, look, kumbe nini you are betrayers.
Yeah, betrayers.
So they want to keep there. But when the elders come together, everybody will be saying, yeah, this is the way out, right?
And if the elders come together, do you think the people themselves are willing to listen?
Correct. From Luoland, you have got the Kerr, the leader of the Luo elders is called the Kerr. From Meru, you have got the Njurincheke, and they have got their chairman. From Coast Province, you have got the Kaya leaders, and they are there. From the Muslim community, they have got the imams, and they say that Imam so and so, they want to, and so forth. Those fellows come. They have got total respect, in fact, and obedience from their people.
All right.
Right? So when they come here, they say we want A, B, and C. The president and the opposition leaders would not any respite other than to respect what they say, because those are their votes at the same time. You know?
You know, Betty, it is interesting that that Mheshimiwa says that, because if you read the report, if you read actually the TJRC report, that's exactly what they say. They have an alternative conflict resolution within that report, and they recommend what should be done. And in fact, when they went round, I was not among them, but when they went round, the approach they used is the same approach you are talking about. So it is very important for us to understand that actually, why is it that the national cohesion is not the one pressing to implement the TJRC report, which has elements of what he has just talked about.
All right, I want us to pose the conversation, very interesting one, I must say. And we just want to cross over live to Mombasa.